All right, so hello and welcome back to Black Catch Chat, the international fans podcast, and also newly formed YouTube live streams for the preview of the matches. And today we've got a canny panel for us today. We've got two lads who don't get on with each other. They have a love-hate relationship. They always never agree with each other about Sunderland AFC. And well, one of them thinks I'm a miserable bugger. So good morning to you, Gavin Frater. How are you?
Morning.
And we've also got his mate, Sean. He's in New Jersey, and Sean's famous for his audio messages of about 5 minutes long every time we get beat. Isn't that right, Sean?
Aye, it is, aye. I'll be giving you another one today.
I hope not. I hope we win. I hope it's a quick like, how are the lads? Right then, lads. So good morning. Thanks for coming on. So we've got Blackburn in about an hour and 10 minutes time at home. There's nothing really riding on the game for us. They've still got a chance of playoffs, but a lot has to change. I get the sense that it could be a bit of a nothing game today. Sean, what do you think?
Aye, I mean, I think well they're going to gun for it, aren't they? From their perspective, what are the 3 points off the playoffs? Three, four.
Blackburn? Oh,
Um,
I think the long way.
Seven.
Yeah,
are they?
yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
okay.
Sorry,
Well,
it's not last weekend.
you know. Now listen, I don't know what to expect with I mean, I don't know. He's going to make changes, isn't he? So I'm not sure. We need to be positive. There's going to be a big crowd there because of the Easter weekend, isn't there? You would think there's going to be at least 44, 45, isn't there? So they expect a performance.
Yeah.
And now a lot might be staying home with the Pope having died, just waiting for the conclave and the new fella getting announced.
Yeah.
Is
I
anything
bet,
more
I
nerve-wracking
bet
than
most,
watching the new
I bet most
Sunderland announcement?
playoffs. Yeah. But anyway, Gavin, just to recap, then the last game against Bristol City, it was all right until 7 minutes in, wasn't it?
Uh, I didn't watch it live because I was working, so I kind of watched it on the rerun. Referees, I just don't understand how these guys get certified to be able to referee professional football at times. It's nearly as bad as the penalty that Middlesbrough got in the last minutes against Plymouth.
Yeah.
Shocking decision, shocking lack of any idea of how the game's played. But worse than that, the cheating from players. Like it's been encouraged by commentators and idiots like Platini, who've been talking about how it has to be all silky smooth entertainment. It doesn't. It's a competition. It's sport. The only thing that matters is 3 points.
Yeah. Sean, apart from obviously losing 2-1 because of a dodgy ref decision, were you at least encouraged by the performance, the resilience shown to defend like that for 85 minutes, but also like the start that we made because we did actually start the game quite well.
We had some good chances as well, didn't we? I mean, the Roberts chance just before half time, that was huge, and obviously Roberts isn't going to score because he doesn't score, does he? You got more chance of Gav Frater scoring. So it's just what happens. But the one person I didn't want it to fall to was Roberts. But listen, we did create. We tried to play. Look, it was tough because the game plan's gone up to 5 minutes, isn't it? And especially with Hume because he's a main part of the team, isn't he? And he gets forward well as well. So the game plan's gone, and I just thought we did try and get the second, and we did try and attack when we could. And I thought we defended first half. We defended brilliant. I thought honestly we're putting bodies in, blocks were coming in, and I'm sitting thinking, you know what, this is decent. We're doing okay, but we just, it's hard to judge that because I think similar to the Swansea game before that, I thought a dodgy referee because we should have a penalty in that game as well. And then you look at the last game, like Gav said, I think it hasn't really been bad performances. It's been bad refereeing, and we're the first to come on here for shite and say we're shite, but we didn't deserve to lose either game. We didn't maybe not deserve to win them, but we didn't deserve to lose them. It was taken away from us, so it's what made it worse.
Yeah. Gav, it was nice to see Enzo Fair start in the midfield role where we want to see him, but obviously he only got 7 minutes really to show what he can do. Because I think when you have a man down, he's not as effective as you'd like him to be, would he not?
No, he's definitely more of that free-flowing player, that kind of who might be at times a bit of a luxury in this division. Someone who's got those neat touches, someone who can unlock a pass. We saw at the beginning when he first came in, when he was on the left in replace of Mundell, just how effective he can be. But I think if you're looking at a midfield three, if that's what we're going to play going into the playoffs, it's going to be Bellingham, Neil, and Lafay, and with Rig coming off the bench. I just think he has that ability, that little bit of creativity that we've lacked a lot in the last half dozen games. And I think he's the difference maker, to be honest. I think if we're going up, it's going to be on his back.
Yep. Sean, he started on Saturday, played 60 minutes. Oh, sorry, Friday. Do you think he'll be in the start lineup again today and get another 60 minutes, or do you think he'll use him a bit more wisely with possibly 30 minutes from the bench later on?
I think he's probably learned from when he got injured, didn't he? I know when he got injured, people were saying he'd overplayed him and it was mismanagement and stuff. I wouldn't play him. I've said this. I said this to Gav the other week. I wouldn't. For me, get 20 minutes here, 20 minutes there. We cannot risk him. Like, he could be the difference between us winning the playoff. He really could. He's top draw, and he's a luxury no one else has got that they haven't. So we've got to really nurture him. And look, it would be typical Sunderland if he got it. You know, he's done his hamstring and he's out. It would just be typical, wouldn't it? So
That's
we really
not
need it.
cursed,
What?
Let's not curse the lad.
No, but I'm just, right? So I wouldn't play him. I'd have him on the bench. We don't need to play him, do we? Why?
I think 30 minutes off the bench in the second half is about as much as I'd want to see from Lafay today. I'd like to see Samad start and give Daniel a rest.
Samad and Alekasic, in the middle.
Yeah, maybe bring Bellingham back in from the start, rest Rig and bring Alekasic in. I think there are bit part players who we could rely on and need that are close to the first team that need to start today. They need to start against Oxford and they need to play against QPR as well.
I'd like to see a back three today. I would, I think now's the time to just rip it up and go, you know what, play a back three, play like a 3-5-2. Because
who's playing a back three though? I mean,
You have to play what? Hjelde,
Mepham, O'Neill,
Hjelde, Mepham, O'Neill, maybe Sirkin and Brown at full back.
Mepham's name eventually.
You can still get your midfield three that he likes, right? Yeah, I don't know. You can have Samad, Alekasic, and Job, and then you're getting Mayenda and Isidore up top through the middle together, building a partnership. And you haven't got to worry about Tom Watson on the left being a lazy bastard, no one else to play there. So,
can we address the Tom Watson rumours now? So I was reading. I got up early. I'm on Twitter, and there's multiple sources saying that he was out in the lash last night.
Oh, really?
Brilliant.
Yeah, apparently he's out in the lash in Newcastle last night.
Well, in that case, you wouldn't expect him to be in the squad then. I mean, surely.
And now we've all been out in the lash and turned up to work the next morning straight from the club.
Especially over 20.
Like at that age, yeah, I could work all day, go out in the lash, get home at 4, have a shit shave shower, and I'll be out for work for 6.
It just shows, though. Listen, if it's true, it just shows that it'll show what Lebrie's about and the club's about. Because if that is true, and they play him, that's a disgrace. That there's no discipline there if they do that.
I've seen no photos.
I agree.
I'll give the lad the benefit of the doubt, but again, it was multiple people talking about it online when I was looking this morning.
Everyone's got a phone these days. Someone would have took a picture, wouldn't it? You would think.
Well, did you not hear about, apparently after the game against Bristol City, he didn't go and applaud the away fans. He just went straight down the tunnel, apparently, and a lot of fans clocked on this and made a big deal of it, started criticising him.
Fans are stuck. So, are we allowed to swear on this podcast?
Yes,
it says it's not made for kids, so I think you're all right, guys.
So fans are so fucking soft. They absolutely are. Like, it's like the fucking diaper class of kids. It's like, oh no, my footballer doesn't want to play for me. I hate him now. Dude, fuck off. It's like, I'm looking at it. It's like, he's got an opportunity to go play in the Premier League, which we're not guaranteed next season. Yeah, look, he's going to be a bit part player. But you take that opportunity. You step up. You go. I don't care whether I played for someone for 10 years or it was in my first season. If a Premier League club comes in for you, offers you a shit ton more money than most people are ever going to see in their life, you take it. the amount of butthurt fans that are going about Watson's not, he's bald and he's not in it. Twitter annoys the shit out of me, and fans annoy the shit out of me.
It's these Gen Zs, man, and these new whatever they're called now after Gen Z. They're just soft as shite. They are.
It's not even that, dude. It's older fans as well. Oh, I've supported Sunderland for 60 years and I've never seen the club treated with such disrespect. Bullshit.
Yeah.
Darren Bent got on a train and went to Birmingham and kind of down tools so he could get his move to Villa. Like,
yeah, no, that's a good point. But on the other hand, Gav, I mean, Tommy Watson, he started the last 3 games and he's done pretty much next to nout in each one of them.
I'm not defending Watson's performances.
No, not at all.
But I think fans are overreacting.
But I think like fans are kind of like trying to link the two, aren't they? Basically, they're trying to find a reason to criticize.
I wonder why Watson might not be back to full strength. It's not like he broke his leg, is it?
But how many good performances has he had? Though I said this to you, Lee, the other day when I had one of them rants. I said he came in, right. He played at Preston, right. Earlier, he was shite. He was crap, and everyone went, "Oh, it's because he was on the right. Put him on the he was out of position. He was on the right, and all this waffle, right? He was awful. He came back in. He was getting slated online. He's weak as piss. He's lazy. He's shite, right? He had 2 or 3 decent games. He had the game where he scored 2. He had the game at Sheffield United where he was good. He had 2 or 3 decent games where he looks like a player, and he's been shite in the last 7 or 8. He's only had about 11 games, and he's been good in 2 of them. And that's not me being harsh. He has.
Look, I'm with Sean. Like I think he has been poor. He's definitely not giving us Mundle kind of vibes at the moment. I think he's got bundles of potential, but I think with the move secured and promotion guarantee, playoffs guaranteed, I just don't think he's been grafting the way he should. That said, I mean, we've been playing against like top end type teams, so it's not like he's been playing crap. I mean, yeah, Swansea was a bad result for the whole team. None of them turned up for that. But Bristol City looking to get up in promotion. West Brom were looking. Norwich are no mugs. I mean, it's not like he's playing average teams. He's playing good championship teams.
Yeah. No, and I think as well, we also remember that he is 18-year-old, and I don't think he's ready to start games week in, week out. And he was kind of thrown in the deep end, wasn't he, when he came in because Mundle got injured. And he had those like 2 or 3 games where he wasn't very good. Then he came on, and then he kind of like, I don't know, took the shackles off, started playing his own game without fear, a bit like Mayenda. And then he got injured again. And I don't think he hasn't come back from that. I mean, I was mentioning on the podcast of the day that his parting message, when it was announced that he was leaving, he was saying basically, I'm a Sunderland lad. I've been here since I was 8-year-old. It's like a hard decision for me. I still want to give everything for the club. We've still got promotion to play for, and I want to do my all for the club. It just doesn't feel like that, doesn't it, Sean?
Nah, it doesn't. I mean, listen, like Gav said to me many times in the past, like, we think about Sunderland differently to how these players do. Of course we do, right? Because obviously, you know, we're the first ones to call them Judases and all this. But like he said, like, it's about money for them. It's a business. It's about a career. And if someone's offering you a fortune, you're going to take it, aren't you? So, but just at least try and put in a performance and stop taking the piss. He's playing, by the way, Watson. The team's out.
So's Anderson.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm looking now. It says, go on, Gav, you want to do the team for us, mate?
Yeah, so we got Patterson in goal, Brown, Mepham, O'Neill, and Anderson across the back 4. Samed, Job, and Alexic in midfield. You've got Isidore out left, Jones out right, and then Watson through the middle.
Sure.
Isidore through the middle, Jones and Watson on the wings.
I would say probably Alexic on the right wing, I would say. No, I think. And Job and Jones in the middle and Alexic on the right.
To coin these awful Gen Z parlances, Watson's more of a what? Sorry, Jones is more of a 10 and an 8.
Yeah. So, I mean,
that's a minging team. That's a minging team, that, by the way. Jesus. We wanted changes, but fuck me.
I mean, look, you've got Roberts, Neil, Rigg, Mayenda, and Lafay on the bench.
Yeah.
Again, it's not about results. We don't care about the results. We're finishing 4th.
I care, Gav.
What do you
Well,
think?
I
You do?
mean, I look at that team and I don't see a team that's got any kind of like cohesion at all. I think it's basically it reminds me of like the Preston League Cup game early in the season where we had like basically 10 changes.
But it's exactly what we said earlier. I mean, players like Abdul Samad, Alexic, Jones all want to play their way into contention for the
I'm
playoff
not quite
run.
sure how to help you with that.
Fucking Alexa, shut up.
Yeah, that's what Alexa
Anderson's
thinks.
the one that surprises me, but obviously, I mean, I thought that Sirkin was supposed to be back for this game. So I thought either Sirkin or Hjelde would have started, but
Yeah,
for a nothing game against a team with
But
nothing to play for, I'm not expecting to be entertained today.
you say it's a you say it's a nothing game. There's going to be 40 odd thousand fans there, man, who've paid money to watch a
Yeah, but
team.
40,000 fans who know it's a nothing game.
Well, you would so they've still went. They still deserve a
Are they going to
performance.
get 90 minutes of football?
What?
Are they going to get 90 minutes of football no matter how dire or turgid it is?
Well, yeah, but they didn't want to turn up just to watch a lackluster piece of shite, did they? A team who can't be asked. They want to turn up and watch a team who's trying to win the game.
But we haven't said they're going to not be asked. I'm saying it's a nothing game, but you've got players who want to play their way into the playoff contention.
All right. Well, listen, we'll give them the benefit of the doubt because we're not going to start. It's tough to slag a team before the team's played, but you can tend
I
to
don't know,
look.
Sean. We've been doing that for 30 odd years.
You can tend to look at a team and, I mean, we know Sunderland. You can look at a team and go, "Fuck me, that they're going to struggle today. They're going to create fuck all today." That's what you can look at and say by looking at that team. But
I
who
mean,
knows?
Gav, if you look at those players that have come in, right, how many of those have got realistically a chance of contributing in the playoffs? So you got like Watson's still in there, Jones is still in there, Alexic, Joe's back in, Samed's in, Anderson's in, Brown's in. You'd only really say Brown and Samed and Isidore are the ones really fighting for something, or
Yeah,
not?
but that's why you give those other top players an opportunity. Alexic might not have been a thought, but if he has 3 storming games between now and QPR, he's going to ask questions. And this is the opportunity you give to players when you're certain of the outcome. We can't finish any lower than 5th, and it's going to take a big goal swing for us to finish there. So you've got to realize that we're playing probably Bristol City, who I'll take over 2 legs with a full strength team and 11 men. But why not Alexic? I mean, if Alexic comes in and has 3 great games and is bossing the midfield, are you going to leave him out? Are you going to bring Rig back or Lafayette if Alexic is bossing it? Well, you give the players this opportunity to show what they can do. And if they don't take it, then shame on them.
Well, I mean, Sean, he's got Neil, Roberts, Rigg, Mayenda, Hjelde, Lefay, Bainbridge and Middlemass. I mean, if we need reinforcements in the second half to kind of like to pick the crowd up a little bit, if it's a bit of a dire match, then he certainly has plenty of options there to. Oh, Sean's gone, has he? He's gone.
Oh.
I've upset him. Anyway,
He's
Gav.
a delicate flower.
Yeah. Anyway, Gav. So like that subs bench. I mean, we have been crying out for Neil and Rig, especially to get rested for a long, long time. Do you think they'll be the bench warmer today all match, or do you think they'll get some minutes as well?
I think they'll get half an hour. I mean, I don't expect the starting 11 to be able to go for 90 minutes. I think we saw against Swansea, was it? John started to look tired after about the hour mark. I mean, he's still inexperienced. I mean, he's not as young as some of the other players, but I think he's 20. But I think you bring Isidore off after an hour, see how he's playing, unless he's on a hat-trick, of course, and then you leave him on. But yeah, I'd like to see Mayenda, Roberts, Rigg, Lafin, and Neil get half an hour at the end of the game. See what they can do when the teams are a little bit tireder. Or more tired.
Where do you stand with the dilemma between Isidore and Mayenda at the minute? I mean, obviously, I think Mayenda's definitely first choice for the playoffs, going on current form. Isidore starts today. Is that a chance for him to kind of like get a goal and try and give Labrise a reminder?
Where I stand is we stop fannying around with 5 in midfield and we play 2 strikers. I think the few times we've seen Mayenda and Isidore on the field together, they've caused problems. but that's not how the modern game goes. That's not how Lebris is playing his team. So I would probably start my ender based on current form. But again, with 3 games to go, let's see how Isidore. I mean, he's looked a little bit lackluster since he signed his permanent contract. It looks as though he lost a little bit of confidence with those 2 penalty misses against Burnley. But all things said, I think I would probably just say start my end at just over Isidore at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, we would love to see the 2 of them play together, but we haven't got another forward on the bench. So, well, I mean, today we have got my ender there, but I mean, Abdullahi's injured. Dan's hasn't made it at all this season. He's not going to make it. Ogunsuyi, the lad in the youth team, I'm not sure if he's still got a knock. He's got potential, but again, he's quite raw. So do you think we're not going to see the 2 forwards, are we not? Unless we get to the playoff final, or unless we're in the second leg of the playoff and we need to go out and win. I think that's the only time we're going to see 2 forwards, isn't it?
I think you're right, which is a shame because I just think back to some of the great teams, and most of them have 2 forwards. If you look, you've got to have someone to play off. And I know they talk about the deep lying number 10s, right, but I want to see 2 goal scoring strikers. I'm sorry, just who I am.
Yeah. Sean, welcome back, mate. What happened? You forgot to charge your.
Can you hear us?
Yeah.
I'm not sure, mate. I just me internet froze, so I don't know what
All
happened.
right.
Me laptop's playing up, so I just got the phone as an emergency. Oh, mate, I'm trying.
Right. Anyway, so Tommy Watson is in the team. Then it's the 4th consecutive game that he's starting. Sean, does he need to put a performance in today?
I mean, he's gonna get grief, and he is, so he has to. Is he bothered? Probably not, but he needs to massively. I think he does hugely. He's obviously got plans for him, hasn't he? I think he's obviously looking at him saying he thinking about him for the playoffs because he's played the last 3 or 4 games. If he was that, if he didn't want him around, he wouldn't even play. He wouldn't even be on the bench, would he? So
I mean, what choice has he got though? I mean, if Mayenda's not fit to come back, he's going to play in the playoffs. So you don't want to kind of like ostracize him because he's leaving.
You're right.
And then rely on him in the playoffs.
Agreed. So he has to play him, doesn't he? But he does. He needs a performance. Will he deliver? Probably not, but who knows?
There's one player that I'm pleased to see that's starting the day, and I think you mentioned it before, Gav, is Abdul Samed. I would like to see him start the last. Aye. He is my mate. I don't know why, but he is my mate now. He is. I would like to see him start because, like today and the next two league games before the playoffs, because I think he could be a key player. If we have to play, I don't know, say we get Coventry in the semi-final of the playoffs, I think he'd be a perfect player to kind of like sit in front of the defence, and I think he would do a better defensive job than Dan Neil. I would rather have Dan Neil further up. Gav, thoughts on Samed? Do you think he could be a key player in the playoffs if he gets a couple of games and finds his feet?
I think he's the natural holding midfielder that we've been calling out for. Like Dan Neil's done a fantastic job in a position that's not exactly his most favourite position to play. When you think Dan Neil, you think a lot more of a box-to-box midfielder, someone who'll get up and support the attacks. And under Reg, he's been made to kind of hold back and be a little bit more kind of contained in his game, and he's done well with it. But I think his natural game is getting forward more, and if there's 1-2s on the edge of the box and playing strikers through.
Yeah, Sean, thoughts on Samed?
I know you love him, Lee. You do. You do.
I love everyone, mate. I'm always the ones who get like criticised. I'm their kind of number one fan, like Aushish, Egwa.
Get Sam on. Get Sam on. You love it. But listen, like Gav said, he's something different, isn't he? We haven't got that type of, he's just going to sit and hold and do a job. And we haven't seen the best of him. We haven't seen much of him. So, we can replace the likes of Joe, Brigg and stuff. But Dan Neil and sitting in that hold, we've only got Samad who can play there. And to be honest, with him sitting deep, right, it might allow Dan Neil to play further forward if they play together. And I think Neil's better Neil's better when he plays further up the pitch. I do. I think because he can get a goal. His passing's great. He can play in that attacking role if we need to, and he's got the energy. I've said for ages I want to see Sama just sitting in there and disciplined. And listen, these 3 games are a good opportunity to get some fitness in his legs, and let's see what he's about. Because you're right, we might need him in the playoffs. We might. So listen, let's see what he does. Hopefully, he puts in a performance.
Yeah. Gav, the one thing that gives me a bit of a reassurance is that the defense is quite solid. I think I like Mepham and O'Neill there. I think they're solid. Brown has shown that he can do a decent job at right back. Joe Anderson, he's been the forgotten man, isn't he? He's a centre back originally, but he's left foot and he's playing left back today. I met him last year in the pre-season tour of Spain. He was a really lovely lad. I think he's just getting some game time before he probably gets shipped off at the end of the season, probably, right?
Again, I mean, look, I know he was a kid when he came here, but he's 24 now, so it's not like he's got unfulfilled potential. I think he's at his level. I think he's probably going to end up in League One next season. But I mean, let's wish the lad well. Let's hope he has a good game. And again, you said left-footed central defender is what he came in as. I don't think he's ever really got anywhere near the first team. So it's his opportunity to put himself in the shop window, maybe get himself a deal with a League One team next year. But yeah, look, I hope he does well. But yeah, I mean, Brown played well at right back, so I mean, he didn't do too badly there. But Mepham and O'Neill have been pretty much the solid central defensive pair for us all season. I still prefer to see Mepham and Ballard, but he's made of glass, so not much we can do there.
He's going to be back in a few weeks' time, apparently. Right, Sean, so Mayenda's goal then, Luke O'Neill was on the club website. He said it's pretty comfortably the best goal I've ever seen live. Sean's frozen again. He's coming in with his phone again. He's having a nightmare today, isn't he, Sean?
Sean lives in the pit, so I mean, that's what it is. He lives in the arsehole of nowhere.
Right. Anyway, Gav, I'll give this to you while Sean gets up and running again.
Oh, Sean is back.
Right. So he says it's pretty comfortably the best goal I've ever seen live. I'd be amazed if I saw that topped. He's sharp and his temperament is incredible. A lot of the lads aren't surprised he did that because he's one of the sharpest players I've ever come across. I've never seen the player receive the ball 70 yards from goal and think he's going to score here. But didn't he still do that? That just shows what sort of player we've got. He's worked hard and he's earned his opportunity. He didn't have the easiest of starts. I mean, he got sent to Hibs, poor lad. But he's a perfect example of what it takes when you're a young player to succeed. He's reaping rewards of the hard work, and it's great to see. Very proud of the lads. We went out to 10 men early, and it became a really tough game. We had to be organised and even tighter to limit them to a few chances and for them to score a brilliant goal from distance. One their centre-half had and a deflected goal is a bit of a sucker punch. And it was a really good test for us going to the last few games before the playoffs, and it puts us in good stead heading into Monday. So, Mayenda, Gavin, he did have a slow start. I mean, I remember last season where he came off the bench for one game at home, and he looked lively. I think he came on the left-hand side or right-hand side, and he looked very lively. And then all of a sudden, we didn't see him again. And then he got sent off to Hibs. He did nothing there. He's come back, just a totally different player, isn't it? So that's why it's like a credit to him for getting his head down, not moaning, not whinging, and just getting on with it and working hard. And it just shows that you do get your rewards, right?
I think it does. I mean, if you look at the players who we sent out last season and this season, Mayenda's definitely the one that has been given the opportunity when he's come back to actually play. I mean, I've been lucky that I got to go to the first game at home this season against Sheffield Wednesday, and he just looked unplayable in that game. Sheffield Wednesday just didn't know what hit him. So yeah, I mean, he's taken his opportunities when he's got them. I mean, he hasn't been 100% every game. He's not been like the 20-goal season striker that every club wants. But yeah, I mean, look, when you look at the players we were linked with in January, in Tom Cannon, and then who's the hairy dude that's not really from Chile, they're from Blackburn.
Burton Diaz.
Yeah, they haven't exactly lit the goal charts. I think Mayenda's outscored both of them. So I mean, I'm glad we didn't go in for either of those guys. I said at the time that I didn't think either of them were worth the money that was being bandied about that Sheffield United will end up having to pay for them. But no, look, I think he's been fantastic this season. I think when you play to a player's strengths, it really does give them an opportunity to show you what they can do. And I think last season, under the myriad of managers we had, I don't think anybody really got to see the best out of Mayenda, because everything last season just went down the left-hand side and for Clark to cut in and shoot. So I think now that we're kind of playing to our striker strengths, I think it's been a lot better. With Isidore, I'd love to see us kind of, when those teams are kind of pressing high and we're now on half, I'd love to see a lot more through balls for him to be the last man. But yeah, I think we've got two pacey strikers who have the ability to rip defenses apart on their day.
Sean, as a football coach there in New Jersey, what do you make of Mayenda's progress from last season to this season, and his movement and his style as a forward?
He's very good, isn't he? His first touch is excellent. First thing you notice, you don't realize how powerful he is till he's on the ball and he's driving. You know, he's so powerful, the boy, and there's a reason defenders can't really live with him. His first touch, like I say, brilliant. He's better through the middle, isn't he? We'll all agree. I think through the middle, he's really, really good. I think when he's stuck on the left and the right, he doesn't get as many goals. He doesn't look, he's finishing from angles isn't great, but I think when he goes through on goal and the power he's got, I mean, that goal he scored and against Bristol City, man, it was mint. It was so good. You know, that they couldn't live with him. And we've seen Sheffield United not being able to live with him. We've seen teams who, like Gav touched on it against Sheffield Wednesday, first game of the season or whatever. He was unplayable, and it's just the power and the movement, isn't it, which defenders can't deal with at that level, The boy's got a big future ahead of him. I really think he has.
Yeah.
And he learns, doesn't he? I think he learns from his mistakes.
Well, especially those two that he had at the Christmas period, didn't he? Against Blackburn and Stoke, those 1-on-1s, I think they were.
I mean, let's be honest. He could have fallen over in a brothel last year and still not ended up in pussy.
It's happened to Gav a lot, that.
Too many times to mention, man. Too many times. But yeah, he's a cracking player and he's still young. And I'm looking forward to watching him develop before we then sell him for 60 million and Sean complains about.
I will, because I don't care with billionaires getting richer. He's trying to wind us up here, But no, look, you see, me dad lives up in Scotland, up in Edinburgh, and there's a lot of Hibs fans up there, and they're moaning, humming hard with how bad he was. But then I look at it and go, Triantis is the opposite. Like, they love him up there, right? And they've got him playing centre mid. He's flying, and I just think, like, Mayenda couldn't get a game up there, and it's amazing how. It's just football, isn't it? Like Triantis will come back. Like, will he even come back? I think we'll just sell him, because what's the point in bringing him back?
That's the question. I mean, if you look at it this time next season, I mean, I'm pretty certain Dan Neil will be off this summer if we don't go up.
Yeah.
I don't think we can keep a player that quality with that much upside on the financials happy. So then you're looking at, all right, who's going to fill that central midfield void, that kind of defensive midfield player? And we got technically 3 players attached to the club right now who could do it. You've got Samed. Is Samed loan or is he perm?
He's loan.
All right, so maybe not Samed, but you're looking at Ekwa, who's, by all accounts, everyone's loving seeing him in France, and then you got Triantis coming in as well. So maybe we have a ready-made plan for replacing Dan Neil if he leaves. Maybe we take Samed permanently.
I reckon if we don't go up, Dan Neil will be off because his contract runs out 12 months' time, I think, isn't it, at the end of the season? The contract negotiations started at the start of this season, but then they got cut, didn't they? Got cut short at December, and they said we're gonna retake it in the end of the season. Rumors are that Dan Neil is not happy with what the club's offering, so I think you're looking at probably Neil leaving if we don't go up, and Job possibly regardless. No, I think. But anyway, we mentioned it before then that we want to see 2 strikers on the pitch. Now, I don't know if you saw Labrice's comments about this, he said we have 2 strong strikers with different qualities. With Wilson a little bit more in behind, and with Ellie, he has an ability to keep the ball under pressure. I think that's fair to say. To have 2 different players at such a high level is really positive. One can start and the other can finish the game, and we have to balance the game at the moment, which is because we haven't got any backup strikers. He says he's managing the squad really well. It's important to be. It's a positive to get Salis and Leo back, and hopefully more players soon. Job is really important for us. To have the best job for the last part of the season will be key. Right then, we mentioned before then that we think that Lefebvre is going to be the key player for the playoffs. Is that unanimous? Do you reckon?
Yeah, I mean, given the option of Rig or Lefebvre in that more creative role in midfield, it's hands down. I mean, is it the guy we're going to have to pay 20 million for if we go up, or is it the kid we're going to sell for 50 million if we stay down?
Yeah, agreed.
Yep.
He looks like a player who could play in the Premier League as well. I feel like he's just even in glimpses, man, he just looks a different. We haven't even seen the best of him. That's the frightening thing, because he's been in and out the team and he's played on the left and he hasn't even played in his natural position. And but what we've seen of him, he's just a Rolls Royce, isn't he? You know, his touches, his flicks, his creativity. Even when he came on against Swansea, that ball he played through for Mayenda, just that's what we needed, that through ball, that vision. And yeah, he's got to play. And I think he will, because he's Regis' man, as the song goes, you know. So I think he'll definitely play him. He has
What
to.
song is that, Sean?
You can sing it, Gav. You can sing it.
Well, I don't know if you heard the last episode of the podcast, lads, but my mate Paul, he was at International Fans Day and he did like the Q&A with Speakman for half an hour, and he asked them about our identity, like what is our playing identity at the minute, and how far away from are we from achieving that identity? Because remember when Speakman was looking for the new coach after Beale and Dodds, obviously, they said that we want a kind of a coach that comes in. We want to create an identity that the fans like in this area, in this city, in this club, and that's how we started the season. But when my mate Paul went the other week, and he said basically, uh, our style now is we're playing like a low block, and we're trying to hit teams on the counter. Because if a championship team goes up to the Premier League and tries to play on the front foot, high press, they just get dicked every week. And he said that basically you need to be kind of like play a low block and hit teams on the counter, especially if you're coming up from the championship. So I don't know, Gav, what are your thoughts on that?
You stole that, Gav.
Sorry?
Sorry, Gav. You know, Fred, I told me the other day, right? I put on the group. He said the same thing. I reckon he's nicked that. He's heard that from somewhere. He goes,
Well,
he said the way to stay up is to play defensive and boring. He said, and he's got a point. He said the three teams who've come up have tried to play football and it hasn't worked. And it might be the key. I'm just quoting you, Gav. You said it might be the key to play more rigid and boring, right? But get results and stay up. I believe that's what you said.
Pretty much, and I said that on after the Burnley game.
Yeah, you did.
On Twitter. They were talking about how dull Burnley were to watch, and I'm like, you know what? I would take a solid defensive effort with counterattacks every day in the Premier League over someone who tries to play like Southampton. Like Southampton didn't start the Championship season well last season, trying to play the way they wanted to play. I don't know what made them think, going up against some of the best players in the world, that they were going to be able to do it in the Premier League. I mean, Ipswich have looked awful. Leicester, Leicester, what, 9 games in a row without scoring?
Yep.
Got to get it. I mean, you build from the back. I mean, I've always, like, it's an old-fashioned kind of a way of building your team, but you make yourself hard to break down, hard to beat before you start thinking about flair players and goals.
Yeah. No. Well, it looks like that's how we're playing, isn't it? We're going to basically go into the playoffs and try and hit teams with that counter. But I mean, for that, I think Mayenda is the one who suits that style more than Isidore, I think.
I think both of them are lightning fast. So I mean, I think but neither of them are particularly good defensively. Give me 1 second. I got to let the dog out. Stupid mutt.
Right on, mate.
Do you know when? Do you know when at the start of the season when Isidore when he first come in, everyone thought he was a left winger, right? And then he just done so well through the middle, didn't he? That was sort of neglected. He had a couple of games on the left, but do you know what? Now might be the chance to go right. Okay, with Watson being what he is and Mundell not being back yet, put Isidore on the left, right, and put Mayenda through the middle. because Mayenda's been sacrificed a lot, hasn't he? And bunged on the right, bunged on the left. Like, give him a run through the middle and and let's see, because Isidore can still drive. He's still powerful. He might be okay in that on the left side where he can cut in as well. So again, it's an opportunity to do. He should have maybe done that ahead of playing Watson, but yeah,
No, I heard what Sean was saying there. I think trying Isidore out left and seeing how he works coming in off the wing was definitely an opportunity I think that we've missed. But look, if we can bring him off after 50, 60 minutes and bring Isidore on and see how that works, maybe there's a way to play them both together.
he needs a goal as a door, doesn't he? He really does need a goal, I think, especially going into the playoffs. I'd be concerned if he goes into the playoffs and he hasn't scored for like 10, 12 games or whatever.
Last one was against Leeds.
Aye, he needs a goal desperately. So
yeah. Well, the other nugget that came from Paul with Speakman was Speakman was he was asked about basically how difficult it is going to be to retain our players, our top players, at the end of the season, and the comment was that, well, listen, we've got a squad which has a value of up to £100 million, and he said there's not many teams in the championship that can boast that. He said that it's inevitable that eventually our top players will leave because it's the right move for them, it's the right move for the club, and he kind of hinted that this summer there will be a big departure, and I would imagine it'll be Job. Gav,
look, I think to say we've got a squad worth over £100 million, I think our midfield is probably not far off that with Job, Rigg, and Daniel. I think Daniel's probably going to go for 15 million plus. I wouldn't let Rigg go for anything less than 40 if you look at what Archie Gray went for, and Job the same. So there's 100 million right there. That's going to be great for KLD to go and spend in the south of France on glasses and shoes, as Sean would tell you.
Yeah. Sean, I mean, listen, I think people will get on board with this model of of basically buying young players, developing them and selling them on for a profit, as long as it's reinvested, right?
yeah, listen, I mean, if we don't go up, right, I'll be honest, if we don't go up, I don't really care who leaves, because I think to myself, if you don't go up, they haven't done a job. They haven't, right? Like, I know people will say, well, they've become top championship players, but I'll look at Job and I'll say, you know what, you've been at the club for a year and you fell off after Christmas in your first season. You've done the same this season. So let's take 40 million for you and good luck in the Premier League. Because
are you off your fucking head?
No, but why though? Hey, look,
have you seen how much? Have you seen? Look. When we've had our fall off in performances, it's been since we've rested Job. Look, is he the same player that he was at the beginning of the season? No, because he's been overplayed for the second season in a row.
He scored 4 goals. He scored 4 goals this season, mate, and had about 3 assists.
But that's not been his role this season, though, Sean.
Yeah, but doesn't matter. You're a midfielder, mate. You still get the ball. Your first thought's to pass the ball forward. Your first thought's to get forward. He hasn't done it enough.
Job's biggest problem is he likes to take the ball too far on the dribble, and he should pass. And he's not as fast as his brother.
Listen,
there's nothing he can do about the pace, but he can definitely improve his situational awareness and pass more.
Listen, if we go up, I'd love to keep him, right? I really would. But at the end of the day, if we don't, Gav, then the likes of him, Rigg, Neil, they haven't done the job. They haven't, mate.
Well, I think not done the job is a harsh way to look at it.
Why?
It's an 11-man game, not a 3.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. None of them. If we don't go up from the position we were in, right, you can argue that they haven't done the job. So I don't care who they sell, because there's obviously been a problem as to why they haven't went up. Whether it's a style of play, whether it's underperforming, whether it's too many players not performing on the day. So at the end of the day, I don't want to watch them again in the Championship treading water, saying, well, get rid of them, sell them, right, and bring in players who are going to get well out the league.
All right, so here's the reason. Mundell, Huggins, Sealt, Dan's not really, but Pavetta, Sirkin, Ballard, Alessi, all out injured. All being reasonably long-term injuries. Mm-hmm. That's been our issue this season. And as a result, we've had to overplay kids who shouldn't be playing 46 games. Chris Rigg shouldn't be playing 40 games.
Nah, he shouldn't be. He shouldn't be. I agree.
So that's the reason why. And there's definitely, look, we had the same problem last year and the season before. You look at it, by the time we got to Luton in the playoff semi-final second leg, we had no fit central defenders and no strikers.
Yeah.
So you've got to ask yourself, what is it that's going on in training? What's going on behind the scenes? Are we working these players too hard? Are we not having enough depth and strength and depth where you can bring other players in? That's been the issue. I don't think that you can. I don't think that it's that Job or Rig or Neil or the players aren't good enough. I think if you flog any horse long enough, it's going to fall down.
Yeah, well, and I think one of the concerns, right, about not going up this season is the rebuild could be big. Because if we lose, say, Daniel, Job, and possibly Serkin, for example, because Serkin's also going into his last year of his contract, and his contract talks got stopped as well, at the same time as Dan Neil.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's waiting to see what division we're in. You could be looking at 3 key players there. So it could. I don't think Rig will leave. I think Rig will stay another season. But
I think if a team that's not Manchester United comes in where he has a reasonable route to the first team, I think, and you can't blame him for, I think Rig would be off.
Weren't they saying it's already agreed, though? I think I was reading a lot out here. I've got a lot of mates and stuff who are Spurs fans, and they were saying it's already done. Levy's paying like 38 million for him in July. They're just not going to.
I saw that one on Twitter a while back.
Right. Which is a great offer, by the way.
Chris Rigg's father has a bit of a big mouth, so I think something would have been said if that had been agreed. But look, if Spurs are offering 38 million for Rig, I'll fly home, I'll help him pack his bags, I'll drive him down. I think that's unbelievable business because
yeah, so do I.
If you look at how many times we got dragged over the coals for Spurs players and not getting the bad luck, 38 million plus a 20% sell-on fee.
yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at the deal we got Serkin on. I think Spurs get what, 30% of any future transfer value from Serkin.
Yeah. And they did with
Like,
Clark,
he might be
didn't
signed at
they?
building teams, but he gets every penny out of the sales. Does the Tottenham director? I can't think of his name right now.
Levy.
That's the one.
Yeah. Right, then the final comment, which is basically going back to today's game as well from Speakman, was he basically told the international fans that, yeah, the club is now basically preparing for the playoffs. These last few games, there's going to be a lot of rotation, and the focus is the playoffs. And I think we can see that today with the lineup, can't we? So, Sean, given that in mind then, with the changes that we've made today, what are you expecting to see and hoping to see from the 11 that are starting today at the Stadium of Light?
Obviously, the likes of Harrison Jones, Alexic, however you say his name, players who are wanting to play in the playoffs or play some part, do your job and perform because you've been given an opportunity now, and you've got to take opportunities, haven't you? I'd love to win the game today, or not lose this, and even a draw today, and just go, the performance was decent, they created chances, they done well, and add an extra thought into the manager's head because we're gonna need player like, listen, with the chances are we're going to go into the playoffs with RJ Elise back, hopefully Ballard back. We're going to go in strong. We are. It'd be nice to have Alexic playing well and Samad knocking on the door, and I'm not going to say Joe Anderson because he's not going to get a sniff, mate. But Harrison Jones, people like that, where it'll be nice to see them coming in and competing, won't it? Otherwise, what's the point? What are you playing them for? If they're not going to take a chance, you don't think they're anywhere near. Why are you just playing them for playing them sake? Just playing them for the under-21s or ship them out. Or just, there's no point in playing them. So they need to put in a performance, don't they? That's all we ask.
Yeah. Gav, for you then, I'm going to ask you this question. It's a home game. It's the penultimate home game of the season. Do we need a win to kind of boost the fans' morale? Because it's a bit like 50-50 with some fans. They're a bit down because we're not playing great. The playoffs are soon. Do we need a win, or do you think like if we lose today, do you think like it could create more doom and gloom?
There's no doom and gloom. I'm sick of this whole bullshit mentality of fans. Oh, we got beat. We're fourth in the league. We've been fourth in the league for a while, and we've known that that's where we're going to finish. When you know that there's no are you going to bust your balls and kind of kill yourself and potentially injure yourself for a meaningless game? No. You keep yourself fit and healthy. You make sure that you're able to play. It's like watching players get injured just before a World Cup in a friendly game. That'll be the most frustrating thing ever. So can you imagine a nothing game against Blackburn where you know you're going to be in the playoffs, you know you're going to finish fourth, and you do your crucial because you're pushing too hard.
Professionalism, Gavin. It's professionalism. They don't mind going to the bank and picking up the money, do they, on a Friday or a Saturday or whenever they
Is
get
it not
paid.
professionalism to make sure you're fit and healthy for the games that matter?
Yeah, but do your
There you
job
go.
and have a bit of respect for the club and the fans. Put in, you know.
Look, Sean, we're
Don't
both
just down tools.
self-employed, so we know there are days where we're really on it and there are days that we aren't. And we know that we're going to get paid when we're not on it. So I think the idea of professionalism and the idea of giving you all every time you put on the shirt. Look, do we need a performance out of some players? Completely. I think Watson needs to step up and prove his doubters wrong. I think Alexic and Samad need to put in a performance to give themselves an opportunity for the playoffs. I think Anderson needs to put in a decent performance to get him a club next season. But beyond that, Mayenda's going to be playing in the playoffs. Isidore will be playing in the playoffs. The guys on the bench are going to be guaranteed a playoff spot. I don't care how the result ends up. I care more about the players who need to be putting in a performance. And I don't care about the thrill mentality of some fucked up fans who think just because some players heading off on the transfer next season, that gives them an excuse to slag them off and be just downright cruel. I don't care about the fans' mentality. Look, if you want to have a bitch and moan, have a bitch and moan. But when that whistle starts, you get behind the team until they tell you that they can't be bothered, and then you boo them.
Listen, if we don't win another game now, right, but we go into the playoffs and win it, then it's justified and everyone will go, brilliant. Oh, he knew what he was doing, right? If we don't win another game now, or we put in bad performances and we go into the playoffs and we're shit and we go out and we don't win it, he's the stick he's gonna get's unreal. They're gonna go, well, oh shit, for the last 8 games and down tools, and they bottled it in the playoffs. So he's gotta get it right in the playoffs. He has to, because the performances.
No, I agree with you, but let's be honest. Who's the guy getting paid to make those decisions? It's Reg Labrice.
Yeah.
All right. Who's the guy that's spent his entire career getting to this point? It's Labrice. The players also, they're the guys who know what they have in them and what they've got left. And look, 100%. Like the fans even though you're in coaching, you're in the game, like you're not at the level. No disrespect, and I'm not giving you grief.
No. You're right.
Of the professionals, so it's like I don't think any of us really have the right to comment on what. No, he didn't give his best game. Look, some days you just have a bad game.
You're right.
Like it happens, and sometimes 4 or 5 players have a bad game together. I think these next 3 games are more about performance than results. I think this is an opportunity to rest players, to give players on the cusp an opportunity to play their way into contention.
But you need.
I think fans just need to understand, like, football is not entertainment. Like, fuck Michel Platini, all those arseholes who say that you need to be entertained. Guardiola, look, I don't care if we have 46 dull as fuck games where we win 1-0 and we win the league. Nobody cares. It's about, right. Did you get 3 points? Did you win a tournament? Did you win the league? Like, ultimately, yeah, do I want to be entertained? Yeah, I'd love to see free-flowing football at Sunderland. But understanding that it's not an entertainment business. If you want entertainment, go watch the WWE. If you want to watch competition, get yourself the Stadium of Light.
Well, listen, last night WrestleMania, some woman's boob came out, didn't it, apparently, when she was wrestling?
No kidding. But like you say, Dad, listen, I tell me players you need 8 players out of 11 to perform to win a game. You can have 3 players having an off game, but you can't have any less it's true. Like, we can have a couple of players today playing poor. We can, right? And as long as 8 and 9 win their individual battles, they'll win the game, or they'll not lose. You know, but there's still an opportunity. Like, I still want to say, look, teams now, it's all about systems and styles, isn't it? I've said this. I've had a moan for ages about how shit football is now. I've said the Premier League's crap. There's hardly any good teams. It's shite to watch. It's boring. Teams are just so rigid and just don't want to lose games. And
I think Mike Malone said it best: is there's no footballers in there. You've got all you have to be is an athlete. If you can run 7-8 kilometers a game, then you're going to make it in the Premier League.
I was talking to my mate the other day, and I was saying, there's no good forwards, man. Like, we grew up with 10, 15 strikers who'd score 20, 25, 30 goals a season. Now you're hard pushed to go.
I remember as a kid watching the likes of Defoe, Bent, Shearer, even though we hate him, Ferdinand, Asprilla,
Cole,
York,
Super
Van Nistelrooy, Van Persie, Thierry Henry.
But even, see, Centre backs could defend as well. I grew up watching Adams, Keogh. They were hard as nails, Rio Ferdinand. Now, the stuff that's shite and forwards can't score. And I think to myself, the game's just, it's so bad now, right? Everyone's set on a system. And this was going back to Russell Martin, what you said, Gav. Like, I heard an interview with him the other day and he said, "At my next job, I'll do the same thing." And he'd get a job. And I just think to myself, well, why you failed? Okay, you got Southampton into the Premier League, right? Which they should have done because they had a big budget and they're a big club in the Championship. But you failed massively because you wouldn't change your system and you were too set in your ways on playing through the thirds and you didn't have the players. You know, what do you do? That's bad management because you were too stubborn. So you're right, Gav. Like, look, even if we're shit today and we have one chance and win 1-0, I'll come out and go, we won the game. Like, you sort of cannot win these days because when we beat Millwall and stuff, fans were going, "Oh, what shit?" But we won the game. Like, I'm never going to criticise Sunderland when they win because I go, well, it's a win. And ultimately, what's the aim of the game? It's to win the game. So I'm always happy when they win. But I just, come on, these performances aren't good enough lately. And I understand what you're saying about the playoffs, about he's resting and it's all part of a bigger plan. And I think Lee said it the other day on the pod, like, they do things differently in Europe, don't they? Like, they tend to rest players more and they tend to build up the things with a bit more preparation, which I think is what Lebrie's going to do. I think he really is preparing and not just flogging with, but he's got to win the playoffs if this is the case to justify it, hasn't he? He has to.
I think if nothing else, he's earned the right to be able to do it his way.
Yeah.
Nobody expected us to be challenging for automatic promotion. Nobody expected us to be where we are. And the fact is we've played very well all season.
Wow.
Yeah, we've had a few bad games recently, but that's been once we've already pretty much guaranteed playoff spots. So okay, like the players take a rest, they get the minutes out of their legs, they get to kind of freshen up a bit, and then hopefully, and this is like, hopefully we see a bit more attacking intent in the playoffs, more like the Sheffield Wednesday at the beginning of the season where we're pressed a little bit higher, but under the knowledge that, you know what, yeah, this is what it's going to take to get up, but then we go back to that deep press, that deep line kind of like. Because if you press teams high in the Premier League and you don't have world-class defenders, you don't have a world-class holding midfield, you get torn apart. Even as Sean was saying, even with the limited quality of strikers that you've got in the Premier League.
It's all pace still, isn't it? Yeah.
When Sean said it, I look at this batch of Premier League strikers, and I'm not sure how many of them would have got into the Arsenal or the Man United team of the early 2000s.
None of them.
Maybe Salah, but...
Yeah. He's not a forward, is he?
Wide forward, yeah. Right, well, one last thing before I wrap it up then. Is it a concern if we don't win any of the next 3 league games going to the playoffs? Sean, I'll give you first go at that.
I was wanting Gav to answer this first.
I'll go first. All right, so is it a concern?
Right.
It depends on the performances. Like I said, we beefed online, and like I was talking about how before we got guaranteed in the playoffs, it was all about the result and not the performance. I think right now, bringing players in and rotating it, but we have to have performances. We've got to look dangerous, even if it's not with the guaranteed 11 that's going to start on May 9th against probably Bristol City. I think if you can't show what the team's capable of, then it's pointless rotating. So no, if we don't win, but we're playing well and we look dangerous, we look as though with a settled 11 we'll win, I'll be okay. I don't see us not getting anything out of Oxford or QPR. They've got nothing to play for and have been poor pretty much all season. And Blackburn have not. I mean, like, we should have 7 points by the end of the season from the last 3 games, in my view.
All right, Sean.
Yeah, listen, I mean, it's funny the playoffs, isn't it? Because people talk about momentum. The last time we went in the playoffs, we had momentum, didn't we? When we finished 6th, we went in. We were in for like that win at Preston and everything, and you're thinking, right, it's going to get us through. But obviously, we just didn't have the squad, and we had no centre backs, and so it can bite you in the arse as well. And do you need it? I don't know. I think the playoffs is a different animal, isn't it? It's about getting through, and it's about doing what you can, whether it's ugly, whether it's about taking moments, and it's about 2 legs getting through and then winning at Wembley. The playoffs is like so. I kind of get you want momentum, but like I said the other day, Southampton didn't have any the last time they went up. They lost the last 3 games. So it's a hard one, isn't it? Because listen, I always want to perform well, and I always want to say we'll win games of football. But ultimately, the playoffs is the most important, isn't it? And especially as well, I think we're going to need a bit more momentum for Coventry than what we are for Bristol City. I honestly think we will, if it is Coventry, because they've got this psychological edge over where they just think whatever we do, we win this game.
I think they've
against
got a
Sunderland.
psychological edge over the fans. I don't think the players themselves buy into that. But looking back at
Right.
something you said a little bit ago, is I think it's all down to the mentality. What is Labris saying in training? What is the mentality around the club right now? Is he
Right.
saying, look, it's okay to coast because we're going to go hard in the playoffs? In which case, look, just keep yourself fit. Don't do anything
Yeah.
stupid. Or is he saying, or is he berating them on a Monday morning, going, "You guys were shit this weekend. What were you playing at?" But I think I fancy our chances as 7 points out of the next 3. We'll get a win and a draw in the playoff semi-finals, and then we'll beat Sheffield United 1-0 in the playoff final.
You heard it first.
Do you think
You
we'll be
heard it.
better? Do you see? I kind of wanted the playoffs the other way around. I wanted it to be away second. And I was talking to a mate the other day, why I went, because I think we're better on the counter-attack away from home. Rather than
So, but
I'll be
I don't think you're gonna have teams sitting back in the second leg at the stadium. Like Bristol are not gonna if it's 1-1 going into the stadium LA, Bristol
Right.
aren't gonna sit back and they're gonna come on. They're gonna need to know they've got to score. I wish we still had it.
if we're losing on that first leg 1-0 or 2-1, it's going to be brutal at the stadium, like, because teams are just going to sit in, and we'll struggle. We need to be drawn or winning that game to try and get them out, like you said, because if they need a goal, they're going to have to commit, and if they do commit, I've seen enough on the counter attack against Bristol City away to think that we'll mundle and we'll beat them. We will on the counter attack. We will
100%. I think if we've got Mundle fit and you've got Roberts on the right, look, you might disagree with his quality as far as decision making. He's up there as far as our assist lead is concerned. But those two wingers with Lafee and Job kind of putting in the passes that they can play and a fast striker, and the atmosphere you'll get at a playoff semi-final leg at home is unreal. I remember the loudest game I was ever at was that
Sheffield United
97 Sheffield United game.
Yeah, it was brilliant.
Yep, absolutely, and hopefully we can get atmosphere like that for the semi-final at the Stadium of Light. Right, lads, we'll wrap it up there because it's 10 minutes before kick-off. We need to get our pre-match snacks and seating arrangements all done. Thanks for coming on.
That means Lee needs to get on the beer.
That means I haven't got any beer, man. I need to go to the shop quickly.
Good lad. It's too early here still. So 10 to 10.
Yeah.
Oh, and you've been 7 sheets to the wind this early in the morning watching Sunderland because I've been there with you.
The last time in Florida, I was hammered, wasn't I?
Anyway, lads, thanks for coming on, and I'll speak again soon. How are the lads?
All right, lads. Cheers, boys.
Yes.
There we go.
Right, and we're off. All right, I'll see you soon, mate.